we've got a lot to catch up on. I've got you on here for a reason today, but before we go to that reason, it would be lovely for you to share a little bit about what has been going on in the last year, because since we last had a proper chat, there's been 50 years of hip hop.
Yeah.
There's been lots of news about what you're getting up to this summer. So let's start with last year. Tell me what the last year's been like, celebrating 50 years of this genre that you basically practically helped invent.
You know what? Like, I don't think I ever thought about we would get to 50 years of hip hop. Not that I didn't want to. I just never really thought about hip hop in that light. This is just something that you do. And then you look up and you realize that you've been doing it for a long time. So to celebrate 50 years was incredible. You know, there were so many great tours that went out. You know, I had the pleasure to go out with the Force Tour, with the Roots being the backing band for LL Cool J and Rakim and Salt and Pepper. And it was so many, so many great shows. In so many great cities just to celebrate 50 years of hip hop. You know, it kind of gave you chills because I'm on stage with people that I was on stage with 30, 35 years ago. And we're still going strong. People are still cheering, and these people are throwing down shows better than they did 30 years ago. So, the whole summer was great. Had the honor of doing the inaugural Rock the Bells cruise, which was just as magical. To have a whole cruise dedicated to hip hop was another thing that I never thought that I would see. It was DJs all over the ship. It was performers all day, every day. And it was just like a big family vacation in hip hop. So last year was great. Last year was great.
Being on a boat, they do that. They do that over here as well. They have like themed boats where you're away for multiple days. I don't know if I'd like that. There's no escape, right? What if you just think, there's always a point where you think, I need to go home from the party now, and you can't go home, or is it kind of like a bit more laid back than that?
Oh, it's 100% laid back. I mean, you have your own cabin. You could literally sit in your room and watch TV and order room service. You don't have to. You've never felt stuck. And the boat goes from port to port, so it'll take off and it'll sail through the night. And in the morning, it arrives in the Bahamas, and you can get off the boat or you can stay on the boat and have a good time. And then everyone gets back on the boat, and there's a bunch of shows and parties, and then it goes to the next port. So I've never felt trapped.
That's good. That's good to hear. So, look, before we move on to talk about this year, because this year, I mean, one thing that you said to me when we recorded our course, the first course, was I'm gonna try and calm down a bit here, spend a bit more time at home. So that didn't quite work out that way, did it? In 2023, but one thing that made me smile when you were just telling that story is that I was on a cruise as well in the Caribbean, and I can't remember which island it was, but there's some guy there who was a costume designer for Star Wars, and just in the town, he's got this little museum he's set up. He's got a Chewbacca, and he's got stuff that you'd forgotten existed, and he's got it all crammed into this little. You know what the houses are like? It's like a wooden shack kind of thing. And it's so unexpected. And I remember the first time I walked into your room that you're in now. It's like that. You've
Yeah.
got this. You've got this Aladdin's cave of hip hop. It's like a museum of the last 50 years of hip hop. You've got gold discs, and you've got piles of like first editions of this and that, and you've got old sample boxes and old synths that haven't been. They sell on eBay for thousands now, and it's exciting because, as we're going to talk a little bit later about, we've got something coming up that's going to celebrate the origins of hip hop that we're doing with you. So it is exciting that you've got all that there, because we're going to make use of it next time, as we're going to talk about. But before we do, I would like to move on to this year, because you're not slowing down, are you? You've got a huge tour coming up. Tell us about the New Kids on the Block thing.
So what was crazy is the very first tour that New Kids on the Block went on, they opened up for Will and myself. And the second tour that New Kids on the Block went on, we opened up for them. So we have a history, and it was literally a friend of mine who's a friend of Donnie's got on the phone, and Donnie was just like, yo, I need to talk to Jeff. And when we got on the phone, Donnie was like, hey, man, we started reminiscing, and Donnie was just kind of like, you want to run it back? And I was like, absolutely. So, New Kids, pretty much does this tour every 2 years, sells out everywhere. The last tour they did was Salt and Pepper and Naughty by Nature. This time it's myself and Paula Abdul. It's really a celebration of the 90s. So you get to play all your old throwback and take people on this nostalgic trip. And I actually did a record with New Kids on their new album that I come out with them and perform, on a tour. So I'm excited. You know what I mean? It's different. I love the fact that I kind of do different things. I love the fact that last year I was on this extreme hip hop tour celebrating 50 years of hip hop. And this year I'm on this New Kids on the Block tour celebrating all of the great music from the 90s.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and if anyone's got the flexibility to do it, it's you, of course. You can put your mind to pretty much any genre that you choose, and put stamp your flavor on it, so to speak. Let's just talk a little bit more about last year then. Was it all nostalgia, or did you feel, because you must have seen people you'd not seen for 25, 30, 35 years, or could you feel, was it exciting because there was a sense of what's going to happen in the next 50 years going on when you met, and when how much of it was just almost like a victory lap, and how much of it was, come on, let's push this forward even further?
Well, one thing I can tell you, it was absolutely not a victory lap from the first show. So even from the perspective of, we sold merch on the first show, on the tour. We sold a couple of T-shirts, and we got our first run of merch that was supposed to pretty much lead us through the first 3 weeks of the tour. We sold every piece of merch we had the first night.
Wow.
It was 20,000 people singing every word to every song. And I think we quickly realized that there's a marketplace that has grown just like we've grown, and you're giving them a reason to come out. So to understand that wasn't a victory lap, that was day one. That was the start of, okay, this is where we are. Hip hop has grown to the point that we now have elder statesmen, we have newcomers, so I might not go to a Sexy Red concert, but I might go to a Cypress Hill concert. So, because that's more of my age group, and that's more of where I'm at. So to understand that you kind of got, these groups of people that are just waiting for you to come out. Like every show was pretty much sold out. So I don't think at one time we thought it was a victory lap. We might have thought it was a family reunion.
Yeah.
But what we realized is the family is really big. The family is really strong. And we need to keep having family reunions because everybody had a good time.
That's good. That's good to hear. So the family's expanded. It's almost like you had several generations out rather than the old generation just poking the old times. That's brilliant, Jeff. So I want to say hello to a few of our regulars. Hi, Mike and Kesha and Catherine. If anyone's got any questions for Jeff, please just fire them away. We'll see if we've got time to flip through a few in at the end. Hello to Mixmaster G. Hello to DJ Sports Girl over there in Michigan, and Jesse and DJ Kwan and everyone else piling in. Seems to have a lot of people on YouTube today. So hello, folks over there. So listen, Jeff, what we also spotted is, and this must be very exciting for you because you haven't been able to do it for a while, is that you've managed to resurrect, bring back after all the horrible COVID years and the lockdowns and stuff, your playlist retreat. So playlist retreat is, for people who don't know, it's almost like a tour of Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Like you get a golden ticket. You can't go and buy tickets for this thing. But tell us what it is, Jeff.
A couple of years ago, well, actually, we have been off for 5 years, and we did it for 5 years. So it almost be 10 years ago. Um, through my work with Red Bull and Red Bull 3 Style, the thing that I realized is when all of the DJs got together, especially when we got together for 5 days, we never spend that much time together. We only see each other at a show. We might go to dinner, but we never really get a chance to spend that time together. What I realized in 5 days, we talked about all of the good stuff. We talked about all of the good stuff about DJing, but we also talked about the bad. We also swapped and shared music. And it was extremely therapeutic. And I was like, I want to do that for us. For the DJs that go out and travel, we're the ones that kind of bring joy to the people who come to hear the music. But what about our joy? What about, I realized when we got together, that kind of really held me down for about a year. That was my pick-me-up. That,
Yeah.
the conversations, the music. So I wanted to do something like that. So we set out to do a retreat. The first playlist was pretty much just DJs and producers, because it was really one of those things like, if these guys make the music and we play the music, let's get us in the same room to try to create this pipeline. It's like, as soon as you make it, if you send it to us, we'll be the music messengers. And then we started adding in all of the stuff that we needed to talk about, social media and so much of the other things that was going on in the business. And it was extremely successful. So we did it again a second year, and it grew, pretty much by half. And then we started having health and wellness conversations and, nutrition conversations and exercise. Like, it was so much, so much. And then we started inviting singers, songwriters, MCs, and because what we wanted to do is to encompass everything that's in the industry that we have to deal with and have those conversations. If DJs are trying to figure out social media, we brought in somebody from Instagram. We brought in somebody from Twitter that would kind of show you the best way, the best algorithms, the best times a day. There were people that, talked about, I get terrible anxiety DJing. So we had someone talk that through. It was really a therapeutic thing on our side, but it became one of the most important events that the creatives needed every year for their recharge. And then COVID happened and we couldn't really do it. We have a big giant playlist group chat that everyone talks, and it's funny. It's a shame that I can't share that chat, because there's so many problems that are being solved in that chat, because you have people, from Mixed Ali to Young Guru, from an engineering standpoint. You have so many DJs from A-Track, all the way down to, hey, does anybody know how to do this and how does this work? And it's producers and, so just having a place that we can kind of feed ideas off of each other was really good. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the world to get to a point that we feel a little bit more comfortable about bringing that back.
Oh, it's good to hear. And for people that don't know this, you do it in your own home. You've got a little bit of land there. You can put people up there. This is a very family oriented thing. It's not a big commercial thing at all. I mean, it's you all over, isn't it? You've got your Mag Mob crew online. The hip hop reunion was all about family. It was all about getting together. It's for you. It's very important the community and the communication, if you like, the everyone in it together thing, which is lovely, of course. Makes you a great teacher, Jeff. Makes you a fantastic teacher.
That is what DJing is about. DJing is a very communal thing. You know what I mean? Like, unless you're playing music for yourself in your room, it's really about community. You want to project your music out for people to have a good time, and they showed appreciation back. So this is a give and take thing.
So that brings us nicely on to what we want to tell the world about today, really. And this is something that we've all been thinking about ever since the huge global success of DJ Jazzy Jeff's How to DJ Right course, which we made together. We managed
Yes.
to somehow squeeze that one out in lockdown, didn't we? How we
that
did that,
was
I don't know. I'm not sure how legal it all was, but we got in one room and we all survived. So, but we've been thinking for a while. We chatted to you about it, and thankfully you were kind of like, this sounds great. And we've got a new course which we are going to be filming a little bit later on this year. A second DJ Jazzy Jeff course to add to DJ Jazzy Jeff's How to DJ Right, which is your existing course. And this one doesn't have a name yet, so we'll let's call it How to Scratch Right. Although that's not been, it's not. But it's ultimately, your first course was, look, this is how to be a great DJ, and now we're going right back to the origin story. We're going right back to the classic, fundamental, old school hip hop scratch skills, back to the late 80s, back to when you and Will and when this thing was at its genesis, when no one knew it was going to be here in 50 years' time. Tell us a little bit about what this is going to be about.
Well, you know what? I've always said, the way that I learned how to DJ was in steps. When I first started DJing, no one had ever scratched. So it was really understanding how to play these records, how to bring these records in, how long to play these records, which we talked about on the first course. And then when we all started scratching, to me, scratching became seasoning. Like, if you got the basis, you want to add the seasoning, that's the salt, pepper, oregano, that's all of the good stuff that goes on top. And I really wanted the course to kind of go like that. Like I realized that so many of the courses, there's a lot of people that already know how to DJ that can go straight to the second course, or go to advanced courses. I wanted to do this in a succession that, for people, like, let me show you how to put these records together and play you a seamless set that you're happy. Now it's time to show a lot of the seasoning, and, I'm excited because, what you'll realize is scratching has a lot to do with combinations. You learn this scratch and you learn this scratch. And then the next time you do half of this one and half of that one, and it becomes a whole different pattern. It's kind of like taking colors out of the coloring box, that you can color with this and you can color with this, but when you mix those colors together, they make a totally different color. So to be able to show people the basics to get to the point that you can start adding your colors is going to take people's set to a whole nother level.
So it's good that you said that, because one of the things that we feel is different about this course that we're going to be filming is that we're not trying to teach people to be doing everything they see at the very cutting edge of turntablism and so on today. What we're doing is going right back to the beginning, and we're saying, look, you listen to the early records, you listen to the songs you love, you listen to the sounds you love, the R and the fresh and the yeah, and you listen to Good Times and Peter Piper and everything that you remember about the best times in your life when it comes to hip hop and scratching. And back in the early days, it was actually quite simple. As you say, there was half a dozen scratches: Baby, the Cut Forward, the Chirp, Transformer and Stab, and there was a bit of juggling, but it was all little building blocks, simple building blocks that you can teach anyone who's prepared to put the time in to learn. That DJ Jazzy Jeff can show you, but once you know them, you can start combining them, and you realize that actually all this stuff that sounds totally beyond your reach is actually within your reach.
Absolutely. What we're going to show is the origin of every technical scratch that's out there. Every scratch has an origin. And if you kind of show the origin, you can't learn how to do a flare if you don't know how to transform. If you don't know how to do a baby rub, you don't know how to transform. So it's almost like you learn this, and then you learn this, and then you're kind of like, oh my God, well, this and this equals that. And it just turns into this whole arsenal. Like, I love sitting down watching guys like Scratch Bastard and Craze put together these crazy combinations because I understand everything that they're doing. They took they took half of this and half of this and put it together, and this is when they got that. And it's kind of like, wow, that's cool. Like we still get a kick out of watching the colors that somebody else uses to paint. You're kind of like, there's so many aha moments, and I think you just want to give people the basics and the structure for them to be able to take it and go somewhere else.
That's my favorite dog in the world. That's Remix, isn't it? Is
That
Remix?
So the last time you came, did we have Champ?
No, I don't think you did. I don't think you did. That's not Remix, is it?
No, that's Lucky. That's Champ. Hold on, let me let them out.
So I'll tell you a story now while Jeff's letting the dogs out. We thought we killed his old dog Remix. We were driving a car and the dog jumped underneath it and we couldn't hear the dog barking anymore. And then we were like, we killed DJ Jazzy Jeff's dog, but we didn't anyway. So there you go. Right, people. So yeah, what Jeff's telling you about here is exactly this. It's a classic scratch course. It's a classic scratch course which teaches you with all the old sounds, all the old songs, the techniques which you need and which you can build on, which means that not only will you be able to do this stuff, but you'll be able to understand everything you see other people do from now on. It's the missing link, really, in scratch training. And we're excited to bring it to you with Jeff. And it's going to focus, as we say, Jeff, on the kind of mid-80s to early 90s period of hip-hop, isn't it? Which is very, very exciting. I've got the old goosebumps are back talking about it now. I just cannot wait to get started. It will be for people who always wanted to learn these scratch techniques. It'll be for people who are interested in the kind of timeless old school fundamentals and have never got around to it, but also for people who want to learn from you or just want to know more about it. You know, we know that a lot of people bought your last course who just watched. People buy vinyl when they haven't got record decks. It was that kind of thing. They just watched and they got so much from it. So it's cool. We can't wait. And we're booking the flights to come and see you, Jeff. This week, I think.
I'm definitely excited.
So we've got loads of people asking questions, as you'd imagine. I know we've kept you here too long already, but have you got another 5 minutes just so we can talk through some of these?
I'm good.
Good man. Right, so if you have a question for Jeff, then please just type away now. I'm now scanning the questions that have come in ahead of time. And there's lots of you saying, Phil, you haven't turned the microphones on from the very beginning. So thank you for that. It's so good. The community is so good. I don't get left making a fool of myself for too long, Jeff. There's plenty of people. Plenty of people.
While everybody is putting their questions in, we need to talk about this.
Hey!
Congratulations.
Thank you, my friend.
Listen, man, Rock the Dancefloor. I don't know what to say, man. I started reading this and I'm like, oh, wow, this is amazing. So I think what I appreciate, just like this course, we didn't have things like this when I was coming up. We didn't have courses. We didn't have books that kind of gave you a lot of the blueprints when it comes down to DJing. I've always said so much about DJing is not the actual DJing. It's the understanding of what to do and when to do it. And this book gives you a lot of those tips. Phil, congratulations on Rock the Dancefloor.
Thank you, Jeff. And you know what I'm most touched by? You've got a little post-it somewhere. Oh no, I know what that is. That was us showing you in the book, wasn't it? Yeah. I remember now. Oh, well, thank you, Jeff. Obviously coming from you, that means a lot to me. Listen, we've got questions. Cameron, how do you feel about the melding of electronic music and rap and hip hop over the last decade?
I don't have any issues when it comes down to the music because I don't feel like I have the right to share what I like and what I don't like on somebody else. If somebody likes it and you don't like it, that's cool. You know, there's a lot of things that I don't like. There's a lot of things that I do like. But if you like it, it's yours. You know, one of the things that my wife and I always say, one of our mantras is, it only has to make sense to you. So if you like it, do it.
I like that. So you're basically you're not gonna share, because by you sharing what you think's right and wrong, you might affect other people, and that's not what it's about. It's about you. It's about deciding what you like yourself. Is there a sense though that when people do try and combine different genres and go for tracks that maybe cross over from this genre to that genre, at the end of the day, it depends on whether they did a good job? Because you could have a really great song that combines electronics and hip hop, or you could have a stinker. And at the end of the day, the genres don't really matter. Do you kind of agree with that?
I've never been someone that cared about genres. I have two genres of music, good and bad. Like, you know, and I am somebody that I came up playing everything. You know, I'm only labeled a hip hop DJ because I scratch and because I was around when hip hop started. But when I first started DJing, I was playing nothing but funk, soul, rock, reggae, you know, because it wasn't any hip hop. So what I did is I add genres in. I don't necessarily take genres away.
I like that. Add genres in, don't take them away. What a great way of describing an eclectic DJ style. Devel on YouTube says, thank you for all the years of rocking the crowd. You've made some great mashups over the years. Have you, or would you think about releasing some of your mashups? Legal issues, maybe?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. You know, as DJs, we come up with things that we do that we're able to play. You got to be careful once you start releasing them for other people. You can release them, you know, you kind of can go under the table and release them for people to play. But once you start trying to, you know, make them commercially, you know, commercially available, you can put yourself in legal issues. So the only
I mean, it's like De La Soul took 20 years, didn't they, to get 3 Foot High and Rising out there because of all the samples, and I imagine it's a minefield. Few people asking this: will the new course be on controllers, CDs, or vinyl? That's from Stevie B, and also that was asked by someone else as well, whose name escapes me. I think we're going to do it on turntables, aren't we? We're going to go true to the original.
But you know what? But you know what's interesting is I DJ on all of that. I DJ on a Rev 7, I DJ on Cross 12s, and I DJ on CDJs. And I pretty much can do the same thing. So this isn't going to make you limited to what you are able to do. I've seen guys like Mel Star do things on CDJs that if you close your eyes, you don't know what anybody's doing. And that's one of the main things that I've always said. DJing is not a visual thing. DJ is an audible thing. So it's kind of like, it's as long as you can get it to sound right, don't worry about the equipment.
Well, that's brilliant.
The person who's enjoying it in the crowd don't care what you did it on.
I do all the cooking in our house, right? And I got a pressure cooker, like you know, an instant pot. The ones that cook everything fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I really struggled with this thing. I mean, I was swearing, and you know, everything was coming out wrong, and you can't look in the bloody things because there's a lid on it. So you can't look in and see if it's burning or if it's all right. I really struggle with it. And I got in touch with a lady who wrote a book. She's the Jazzy Jeff of pressure cooking, this lady. I got in touch with her. I found her. I tweeted her. And I said, you know, should I be using this one? Should I be using that one? Should I go and buy another one? And she said to me, I can use them all. And I suddenly realized this is what DJing's like when you're a beginner. You think the gear is important. You think you've got the wrong gear. Or you think that the reason your results are coming out wrong is that your controller is not as good as the next person's, or you should be on turntables instead of using whatever. And it just isn't true, is it? It just is not true. You can learn on anything.
Yes. One of the best pieces of advice I got maybe about 25 years ago. And it was a person that told me, if you DJ for 1,000 people, 100 of them can see you. 900 of them hear you. What's most important is what they hear, not what they see. And I never forgot that. because so many times you are, well, are you using turntables? Are you using a controller? Are you using CDJs? Someone who's coming to enjoy the music and enjoy the DJ is not caring about what you're using. It was from the perspective of guys who collect records. If I play the Ultimate Beats and Breaks with the Incredible Bongo Band, it doesn't sound different than the original album. No one cares if I'm playing the album or if I'm playing the bootleg. They care about the music.
Yeah.
So I am just somebody that I always focus on what's important. The gear is not important. The gear is your tools. How well can you build a house with your tools?
Love it. So Hans has come in on Facebook with a comment about what we were just talking about, genres and styles. Hans says the worst song in the world, played at the right time to the right people, is the best song in the world, in my humble opinion. Agreed.
I've been in clubs and they have played songs that I absolutely hated. And they played it at the right time, and the lights hit the floor, and the sound system was banging, and people lost it. And I found myself saying, wow, that was amazing. Like you found yourself. So trust me, all of that matters. Sometimes you just gotta leave yourself open, and don't say no if you never taste it.
Love it. I'll give you another example. We quite often get people sending like a shaky YouTube video of a DJ saying, can you show us how to do this transition? So Steve and I will sit down in the studio and we'll try and find the songs, and often it's like we kind of say to each other, yeah, we can teach that, but God, I don't like that music. I'll tell you what, by the time we figured out the transition and taught it, we're going home tapping away. We want to get back the next day and tidy it up because we're missing the songs. It's
Yes.
Familiarity is half of the thing, isn't it? Familiarity, and having a relationship with a song can change your opinion with it, of it.
And sometimes that relationship needs time to grow.
Yeah, true. Good. Yes. So give things a chance, people. Other DJs, says Scradgy, care about the equipment and what people use. Yeah, but other DJs are a trap, aren't they? We don't want to fall into worrying more about other DJs than worrying about.
Listen, you got to ask yourself, when you go out to play, are you DJing for other DJs, or are you DJing for people who want to hear the music?
So CK3 Plays on YouTube says it's not about the cookware, it's about how you cook, which again is going back to what we were saying. DJ Double M, how do you feel about the comeback of vinyl that has been occurring over the last 6 or 7 years?
For somebody like myself, it was never a comeback. It was always here. So I appreciate that people are starting to bring their records out more and play. I love the fact that there are a bunch of places like Dante's in Miami that are opening up record bars all over the world, and people can bring their 45s or their vinyl and play. It's a great connection with music. The thing that I think I've loved the most about it is these are music lover venues. These are places that, you're not really going to hear the top 40 songs on vinyl. You're not going to hear the top 40 songs or radio songs in vinyl spaces. So you get a chance to hear what people's musical tastes are.
Yeah, you get deep cuts because people are collecting, by definition, they're collecting older music and music that's more obscure, because that's the stuff that you tend to find on vinyl. There's a lot of bootleg vinyl, isn't there? I noticed a lot of 7-inches out there where you get a hip hop track on one side and you get the original song that was sampled on the other side. Now,
I almost think that kind of helped revive the scene, because I remember when record companies stopped pressing vinyl of certain records, and when we used to play vinyl and someone comes up looking for this song, they don't understand that the record company didn't make it on vinyl. They just look at you like you don't have the song that I want to hear. So the fact that people kind of start taking matters in their own hands, I think it was a reverse effect that the record company started saying, hey, I think we got something here again.
So we're gonna wrap it up there, people. Thank you so much, everyone who's thrown in questions. I've only been able to get to a few of them, But I'm going to leave it there because we want to just remind you all that this course is coming from Jeff. This is really important. This is something new. This is the course, the perfect complement to Jeff's DJ course. It is going to be for everyone who is interested in the origins of hip hop, the origins of scratching. And let's face it, there's no one better on this planet, I don't think, to teach that stuff than Jeff himself. And if you're interested in this, you can sign up now for the pre-list, which is here, digitaldjtips.com/Jeff. That is the way that you can find out when this all happens. It's not this week or this month, but it will be something that you'll hear more about towards the end of the year after we've got it safely filmed and in the can. So Jeff, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. There's the page that you'll come to, people. Just stick your email address in there and you'll be good to go. Thank you so much for joining me, Jeff. I do apologize for the slight technical hitches at the beginning, which are all down to me. But it's always a pleasure talking to you, and we can't wait to get back there. I don't think people realize how hospitable you are. We don't go to some big studio in the center of Philadelphia and all hang out in 5-star hotels and stuff. We go and stay with Jeff. We're going to stay with Jeff and his dogs and his family, and we're sat around his kitchen table watching classic Hollywood and eating food cooked by his family. You're very lovely to us, and we can't wait to get back and do it again, my friend.
I appreciate it.
Utter congratulations for the amazing year you've had, for the amazing summer you've got coming up. Good luck with the playlist retreat, and we can't wait to get there.
Yes, thank you.
Lovely to see you, Jeff, and all the very best from us here at Digital